Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Huge Movie Podcast, the only movie podcast that knows a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down, but also causes diabetes. My name is Chris Carfaro, alongside my co-hosts who are unamused this week, Connor Garrigan.
Hello.
John Gallagher. And the man behind the camera, Jack Mayberry.
Yes.
What's going on, fellas? It's been a while.
It's been a while.
It's been a week.
It's been a week, but they haven't been here in 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is it Scott Malkinson from South Park who has diabetes?
I think so, yeah.
Fuck you, Scott. Diabetes.
So we got a great matchup today for the bracket. But first, we're going to mix it up a little bit. Instead of a synopsis surprise, we're going to go through and say which movies aren't on the bracket that we think should actually be on the bracket. This was suggested by John. It may or not be due to the fact that he did not have a synopsis surprise for us today. But anyway, I'm going to let John lead us off.
Okay. All right. So let's try to talk about movies that we actually are genuinely surprised based on the way that these movies are received in culture. Not
a Jack answer.
Like, oh, I love the Love Guru. I can't believe it's not on here.
Fuck you.
And Jack is my favorite person on the podcast, by the way.
Yeah, this is news to everybody.
I spat in your chicken parm sub.
And I don't think that's going to make you not his favorite, which is shocking.
Well, I don't know why I thought of this, but I thought it the other day. I was thinking, I'm kind of actually surprised Princess Bride is not on the list.
Interesting.
Considering, like, just
That's
a critical and, like, not commercial. I mean, it's kind of like a cult movie, I guess, but it's also, like, risen to the point where it's, like, very culturally, significant.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like that's one where, like, everything anyone says about that movie, critically or just audience-wise, is so good. And it's got such a, like, significance to it now that I'm kind of surprised to not see that one.
It's interesting, too, because now that you mention that, I don't think I thought about it before. There are not a lot of comedy movies in this list.
No.
And I think, personally, like, if a comedy movie is done well, directed well, and there's, so many different examples that you can name, just because of the subject matter of the movie, I don't think that necessarily should exclude it from the list, right? It's a form of entertainment. It's an art piece. And just because there's a bunch of dick jokes in it, that doesn't mean it should be excluded.
Yeah, Princess Bride has a ton of dick jokes.
Does it?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it in a while.
Yeah, you don't get them until you're an adult.
Oh, okay. A lot of stabbing with swords, if
It's
not.
one of my favorite movies of all time.
Me too. I mean, how many people say that? So many people say that about that movie, where it's like,
Yeah.
actually,
I'm not
I
a
can see
big
it.
fan of it. But the main character, I always forget his name. Wesley.
As you wish.
But
Cary Elwes.
is that who?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
The actor.
What else is he in? Because I know he's in
Liar,
a lot.
Liar.
Liar, Liar.
I saw him in something where he was much older too.
He plays a cop in something else, too.
Heat. Not Heat?
Don't worry.
Okay.
No.
I'll figure it out. Oh, he was in Robin Hood Men in Tights too.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I remember that. Yeah, that's a good one.
Thank you. Oh, he's in Stranger Things.
Really?
Oh, yeah, he's the mayor.
Okay, moving on.
Connor, what do you got?
So I'm looking at the top 250. I had one. I was going to say Ghost. Because I just watched it and I really enjoyed it.
Like the Patrick Swayze movie?
Yeah. And it won awards and it's like very entertaining. Like, let me just check to make sure. Like, I know Whoopi Goldberg won for Best Supporting Actress. And it was nominated for Best Original Screenplay, I think. But it's very good. And I don't know, a lot of the reviews, I was just talking about this movie with John. A lot of reviews say like it has something for everybody, which it probably does. I think it all just adds to the romance of the movie, which I thoroughly enjoy. I kind of like that more than it being like a scary movie with some romance in it too. Like, I love that movie.
You are the king of the rom-coms.
It's not a rom. It's not really that funny.
Oh,
It's not a rom-com.
I've never seen it. The only thing that I've ever seen is the scene where he's behind the gal.
Also, that scene is so ridiculous, but it works in the movie because it's so good.
Well, it's
Like-
about a ghost that comes back and haunts his lover.
Not haunts, kind of, I guess, if that's, I don't know, but he's not a ghost in that scene.
Oh, wow. Could have fooled me.
It was the third highest grossing film of all time when it came out.
Really?
In a studded movie year too. Like the other movies that were nominated were, I think this was the Goodfellas year, like one of the best movie years ever, and it stuck out.
It was nominated for Best Picture?
I think so. I'm not sure.
Interesting.
It was the Goodfellas year.
Yeah.
It was nominated for Best Supporting Actress for Whoopi Goldberg.
And she didn't win?
No, she also won.
Oh. Nominated and won.
Yep. She got the double whammy. Nominated and won.
I think everyone gets the double
double crown.
whammy if they win.
The double crown.
Jack, what about you?
So, John, did you say Princess Bride before?
I sure did. Not Princess Diaries.
All right, Princess Diaries is fucking great, though, to be totally honest. At first, I thought you were talking about like a Disney, like the Halloween, like skeleton movie.
Oh,
the
Nightmare
Corpse
Before
Bride.
Christmas?
Yeah, yeah.
Wait,
I think I
what
was.
one?
And
Corpse
I was
Bride.
like, I'm kind of surprised that he's talking about
Yeah.
like an animation like this. But I'd say I'm trying to look back at the bracket because I don't want to like give one that's on there. But can I give two?
Sure, why not?
Yeah, let's just change the
They're
rules.
they're kind of in but they're
don't
they're
matter.
kind of in the same like area. But I was gonna say The Sandlot because I feel like that was like a really big movie when we were kids and like everyone knows it. And then also Remember the Titans.
Yeah.
Just like those are the only
agree.
like two good movies I can remember that like significantly did something to me as a kid.
And
What
they hold
did
up.
they do to you?
I don't know. I just don't really watch a lot of movies
Yeah.
anymore besides this. So that's why, yeah. So
I
I'd
think they
say
hold up
those.
too.
What?
I think they hold up. I think if you watch them today, they're still good movies.
Yeah, they're the only two movies I can think of off the top of my head instead of like Love Guru or I was gonna say Step Brothers, but like yeah. So I think they could hold up on there like against Toy Story. I would vote for The Sandlot.
Okay, I could see that. Yeah, especially in the bottom part of the bracket, there's like so many movies that are like even questionably on there. Something like a Sandlot that I feel like the Sandlot more than the other movies. Well, I guess Princess Bride kind of has the same thing, but the nostalgia factor is so big on it, and like the fact that they are critically and I guess you would say an audience success, right? There's definitely a lot of merit for both of those movies. I wanted to go last because mine deals with the matchup today pretty well. But The Wrestler, I think that The Wrestler is arguably Darren Aronofsky's best movie.
It definitely is.
Yeah, I know it won. I think it won Best Picture that year. Single-handedly responsible for Mickey Rourke's comeback. And now he was in a Marvel movie and he does like other roles and stuff like that. But it really brought him back from, I don't even know what the last movie he was before The Wrestler. And it's so well crafted. It's one of the movies that got me really into character pieces, where they constantly follow one character's story throughout the entire film. And then just the way that Aronofsky makes, internal struggle come out in his characters externally. I think he does that better than most directors, I would say. And just some of the visuals in that movie are insane. It got me into pro wrestling. Like, I'd never watched pro wrestling growing up. I know a lot of people that watch pro wrestling and have done since they were children.
Chris is from Long Valley.
No, there's a lot of city folk who like pro wrestling too, okay? Not so hoity-toity. But yeah, it was literally like you see a backdrop of pro wrestling and the behind the scenes aspect of it to where like I know a lot of people argue that pro wrestling's fake, so it's like, oh, why would you even
Real
watch
to me,
that?
God damn it.
It's still real to me, damn it!
It's not an argument anymore. It's like it's known
No.
that it is fake.
No. What I'm saying is
Chris,
like,
are you just learning this now?
We're gonna have to take out what I'm about to say, but no, never mind.
now you said it.
Censored content montage.
We're not gonna. We're cutting that, right? We're actually cutting that. I'm not including that in this.
Clip it. Yeah. Oh God. God gives, God takes it away.
Okay, none of this can be on the video. We're cutting so much time here. Every time we say one of those, we have to cut from that point. Are we ready?
Okay, we gotta cut all of this out.
I'm gonna leave in all the space in between. All right. So seamless transition alert. Today's matchup. We've like I was saying about the wrestler.
Wrestler's so good.
Yeah,
That's a good choice. I really can't believe it's not on here.
'Cause-
like thinking about it, all of these movies,
Yeah.
they can beat Aliens. They can beat fucking Vertigo. They can beat any of those.
Dude. I mean, they can beat the movies that I put for like my number one. You know, it's just I don't really know. And again, this is why we're.
They also make sense because they're crowd pleasers too. Like that's what a lot of these movies are crowd pleasers from back in the day,
Yeah.
or like what people like to say are good movies.
and award winners. Like I think any movie besides probably like The Artist that wins Best Picture has a spot on this list. Whether it's like going to go.
I mean, because I was thinking about that with Ghost. That was when I thought it won. It did not win. I don't even think it was nominated for Best Picture. But
Oh, okay.
but like Goodfellas didn't win, or whatever that year of Ghost. There was 3 movies that could be in the top 100. You know, like, damn. I just had a whole list. But.
Yeah. But like these movies can push off some of these movies that we've already like eliminated. If you think about like Gladiator, right? It's a movie that has a bunch of critical, acclaim, or crowd pleasers in their own way, but like they were booted off the list first. I think a stronger movie like The Wrestler would be able to Gladiator lost to Toy Story. Right? I think you beat Toy Story 10 times out of 10 with The Wrestler, right? And then it's just like at that point you're in the game. Everyone can beat everyone.
I've never even seen Princess Bride. I don't even know what it's
Yeah, I only
about.
watched
I think
it
you'd
once.
really like it.
I watched The Prince and Me a few weeks back.
Yeah, not related.
It's free on YouTube.
The Prince
was
so
nominated.
everyone knows.
The Prince and the Frog.
Yeah, you'd probably like The Princess Bride.
I'm definitely gonna try it at some point.
It's quirky.
It's fun.
Let's get into it.
Yeah, let's get into it.
Okay. So,
Oh my god.
so the matchup, right, is Requiem for a Dream, directed by Darren Aronofsky, which is why I brought up The Wrestler. And then The Usual Suspects. I don't know who the director is for that.
What's his face?
What's his face?
Bryan Singer.
Yeah.
Bryan Singer of Beach Boys fame.
Yep. Bryan the Singer.
Kind of controversial, I'm reading now.
Bryan Singer is?
Yeah.
Why? What did he
Yeah,
do?
I read about that.
Did he also touch boys and then just use his excuse as he's gay?
More or less.
Kind
Okay.
of.
Wow. He must have got that excuse from
Yeah.
Kevin Spacey. I couldn't think of his name. But yeah, 2 fantastic films. 2 films with a lot of cultural significance, and 2 films that I would say are kind of unlike a lot. Like they're very, very original, right? With The Usual Suspects, you have a basically a cop and robber type movie, right? Done to death, but the twist at the end and the way that they tell the story are so fresh and original that it makes it a movie all on its own that kind of escapes its own genre, if you will, right? And then Requiem is just, I don't think there's a movie like it. It is.
Shouldn't be.
Yeah, they really couldn't be. It's so cerebral. It's horrible to watch in a good way because I like an uncomfortable movie.
It's got ADHD pacing.
Which I'm going to get into because I'm just such a sucker
really
for jump cuts because of Darren Aronofsky. And this is one of his movies that he does it the best, I think.
Definitely the most.
Yeah, well, Pi had a lot of them too.
I think this. I don't. I'd have to watch Pie again.
When you say jump cuts, are you talking about the things where they do the really quick, like
the quick cuts.
Yeah. So I think
who else does that? I've seen that.
I think
done
he's
by
the one
other-
that made it popular.
I think you're right, but I'm trying to think of like other movies where I've seen that same kind of style.
It happens a lot with movies that have a lot of drug use in them.
I think because of this movie.
Yeah, 'cause I think Train Spotting is also one when they're doing the heroin.
They might. I think you might be right.
Limitless.
Yeah, Limitless for sure. Basically, anyone taking drugs.
And a pupil dilating.
Yeah. But yeah, the way that Aronofsky uses
Train Spotting should be on this list.
Train
Sorry.
Spotting is a great one, and it's also one of those
Is it
that
not?
like there's not a lot of foreign films. Wait, I think it is.
I really don't think it is.
Jack, can you look that up, please?
Which say it one
If
more time.
Train Spotting is on the bracket.
Sorry.
I don't have the bracket up.
I
Find it before.
I've derailed us.
Challenge.com/huge movie podcast. Join the bracket there. Vote on the matchups and watch history be made.
Chris, I derailed us for Train Spotting.
John, horrible. The puns are no longer a thing. What were we doing with all the puns?
Let's get back on track.
Yeah, sorry. So like what were your first impressions of when these movies were being like put against each other, and then did you have like a change of your impressions? Because at first I was like, these movies are kind of far apart. I'm such a Aronofsky nerd that I'm like, obviously I'm putting through Requiem, but I hadn't watched The Usual Suspects in a really long time. And when I watched it, I was like, oh, this, even though you know, if you've already seen it before, you know the ending, and you try to like pick up the little hints throughout the entire story, it still throws you for a loop because part of the storytelling is telling false memories in a way, you know?
Yeah, unreliable narrator. I don't know. I went into this knowing I just didn't want to pick Requiem because I don't want to watch it again. I hate watching it. It makes me so uncomfortable to watch the ending. And I think when I think about this movie and the first time I watched it, I loved it. I think it was because of the I'd never seen a movie like it.
Requiem?
Yeah. The way it was edited, everything. The editing is just, Darren Aronofsky really swung for the fences with this movie when it came to the story, the editing, getting the actors to do what they did. Like every performance was great. Ellen Burstyn, I think, was nominated. She's
She was incredible.
the
mom.
Yeah.
Oh my God, she's so good.
So good. She was in The Exorcist. I didn't know that.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
What was I saying?
Is that the
And
Patrick Swayze movie? Oh no, that's Ghost.
You're thinking of Poltergeist.
What was I saying?
All the acting was good.
Yeah, and then so that's what I think about when I think about this movie. And I know I've said that there's some type of like the reason I didn't like The Whale is because there's nothing to build you back up at the end. And I was like, in Requiem, I think this was just my brain trying to make this a happy memory when it wasn't, because there is nothing that builds you back up. Every character ends in ruin.
Yeah.
And it made me so sad.
That's
So
what I was
much
trying
worse.
to tell you.
I have distinct memories of Marlon Wayans like being healthy in prison and
No.
and like Jared Leto like walking out of the hospital. I think my brain like put those in my head to be like, you had a better time than you think.
The last scene of
okay,
Marlon
Connor, it's
Wayans. The
Yeah.
last scene of Marlon Wayans is him screaming through jail bars.
In pain.
Which
No, curled up in the fetal position.
oh right.
They all end in the fetal position.
And then Jared Leto missing his arm, crying in a hospital bed.
Alone.
Real happy stuff.
Yeah, it's terrible. That like I hate rewatching this movie. I don't want to watch it again ever. And I think I might choose it because I was so bored in The Usual Suspects.
Yeah.
So bored. Like the first time you watch Usual Suspects and you don't know what's happening, the ending is great. It's fucking like, oh my God. And it's not like an M. Night Shyamalan twist that's just like a twist for a twist's sake. It's like
It's the whole movie is
the whole
twist.
movie you see the whole movie again at the end once you realize what the ending is. And then you watch it a second time and it's fun because you get to look for things.
Yeah.
Third time, that loses a little bit of its luster. I've seen it probably 4 or 5 times now. And I was just like, I get it. I'm over it now. Like, I don't need to watch this
You
anymore.
put it to bed.
Yeah.
Kaiser Soze will never show up again.
I mean, but like you said, the way the story was told is so like new and fresh. Like there's not a lot of movies like it before it.
And a lot of movies now copy in some regard.
But if we're not counting that because fuck Citizen Kane, I don't know what movie this beats.
I like how we're making that like an adjective.
Yeah.
Like a movie is fuck Citizen Kane.
Yeah. There's still stuff I like about it. I still didn't hate it, but I don't know. I was very bored.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the pacing, especially if you watch Requiem before The Usual Suspects. Oh, because I was gonna say like I did.
Yeah.
And it almost puts you to sleep because of how fast and frantic the pacing is in Requiem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think, John?
Both of these movies were movies that I have not seen in a long time that I loved when I saw them, but loved is a weird thing to say about Requiem. I was surprised to see we're doing another kids movie with Requiem this week. They're both movies that like I don't know. They're those movies that like I have not seen for a long time, but I just know that in my head canon, they're very high on the list because I just know that when I saw them, they were very good. And Requiem is a movie I told myself when I saw it, this was really good. I'm glad I saw it. I never want to watch it again. And when I watch it again, I completely agreed with my younger self. I did not want to watch it again. But yeah, I mean, watching them now, I don't want to spoil the end of our video here, but I had similar feelings on Usual Suspects to what you said, Connor.
Yeah.
Like, it's good and it's great to watch the first time. And like you said, it's good to watch the second time too. It didn't hit the same now. And I don't think that, like, I don't know, it's still really good. Like, it's definitely better than most movies in that category. But I don't think that just having a twist at the end, like, gets you into the top 100, you know?
Agreed.
And I mean, there's other things that happen in this movie, and, like, there's good things going on throughout, but I don't know. And the other thing about the twist that I was always a little bit on is, like, it kind of it's not like everything makes sense at the end. It's just like, oh, okay, so Kevin Spacey maybe just made everything up and okay. Like it's not like every piece like falls right into place and you're like, whoa.
Right.
You do kind of act like that the first time you see it. But if you actually think about it, it's more like, okay, so what was real and what wasn't? We don't even know. Like, okay.
Yeah. I think having said that though, and this is probably just a poor take on my part to kind of boost up The Usual Suspects a little bit. I think what does that for a lot of people during the twist is actually not the plot device, and it's not like the giant realization, because you're right. There are so many plot holes still, given that, you know, information. I think what does it is Chaz Palminteri, who's the detective, I think he sells it really well. And like because to a certain extent, right, the entire movie takes place in that detective's office with Verbal is his name, right?
Mm-hmm.
Talking to whatever the detective's name, Chaz Palminteri's character, and you're feeling him. He's basically you as the viewer, and Verbal's the narrator and the person who's bringing you through the entire movie.
Yeah, Verbal's narrating the story, and you're seeing it through Chaz Palminteri's character.
Right. So when he has that visceral reaction at the very end, I almost feel like the movie sets you up the entire time to really fall into Chaz Palminteri's role. And then when he has that visceral reaction, you as the viewer also feels exactly what he feels in that moment. Even though it's lacking in some of the finer plot points, I think that's what really sells it and puts it over the top.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. You guys want to just keep rolling on Usual Suspects here?
Yeah, let's do that because I have so much to say about Requiem because I'm just a fanboy for Aronofsky.
What would you guess like the scores are? Like on Rotten Tomatoes.
Metascores
yeah.
or Rotten
Requiem
Tomatoes?
is probably,
High 80s.
I'm going to say 92.
For
think I filmed
Requiem?
I think they're both high 80s.
And
All right,
then
so-
Usual Suspects might be 94.
Okay. John, do you want to take a guess?
I'm going to say Requiem's 87. Usual Suspects is 88.
Okay. Why are you keeping them so close together?
I don't know.
Just tell us the scores.
What's yours?
I would say Requiem is probably in that 88, 89 range. And then I want to say The Usual Suspects is probably 94-ish.
Okay.
Good. Oh, where'd you get that number from?
94. I don't know. It just popped into my head. I think that The Usual Suspects, just because like how much people talk about it.
Yeah,
and
that's
like,
my thing.
Yeah, I think it's got to be in the 90s. I don't know.
It's Usual Suspects, 88%
There
on
you
Rotten
go.
Tomatoes. On IMDb, they have 8.5 out of 10. And Requiem, 86% on Rotten
Interesting.
Tomatoes.
God. 1 point away.
And no, I know.
Why are you
That's why
trying
I
to
was
throw
like,
him off?
holy shit, like he's really on there. And IMDb is 6.9 out of 10.
Which is crazy
So
because
it's
if it's
weird
in the
that they're flipped.
What is that
Yeah.
out of 100?
What?
69.
Usual Suspects, positive coming out
Oh,
of this.
can I say one more thing
Please.
about both movies?
Please,
before
I'd
we
love for
start
you
going?
to interrupt me and say whatever you want.
Shut up. So pretty I would say these movies are kind of under the radar ensemble casts, right? Because you have like a lot of actors at kind of weird points.
Requiem, I
in their careers.
definitely agree, but I think Usual Suspects is like pretty on the radar.
For
Above the
under-
radar for ensemble cast.
No, but like okay. So maybe it's just Requiem,
Yeah.
but you can argue that both movies have an ensemble cast, right? If you're going to bring up
they both
Requiem.
do, yeah.
But like that was a time. This was before American Beauty, right? For Kevin Spacey, or you think
I think
after?
so.
Yeah. So like he probably hasn't hit his full stride. Chaz Palminteri, he was really only known from The Bronx Tale at this point. Then you have Stephen Baldwin, right?
Yeah, he's the only one that I think can kick rocks from this movie. And
Yeah,
I
he
think
kind of
that
stinks.
I-
Those Baldwin boys, let me tell you.
No, I will say the only time I ever want to see Stephen Baldwin is barefoot in a car that he has to use his feet to make go forward. And he goes,
Oh, was he Barney? From Flintstones?
in like the second one. That they
Is he
changed the
related
cast.
to Alec Baldwin?
Yeah.
The brothers.
No way. Good for them. They're really doing well.
Yeah.
They have other brothers too.
Pretty sure his daughter is Justin Bieber's.
Fuck you, Haley.
Yeah.
All right.
We're Team Selena.
Political party is Republican.
What did you say?
His political party is Republican.
Who cares about Stephen
I
Baldwin's
definitely will
I
buy
think it's
it.
because he's said it out loud to a bunch of people. I think that's why.
Oh, is he like a... Yeah, okay.
Do you want to hear some of the top like searches on either of the movies? Like, and you guys can kind of react to that.
Sure.
Um,
If it sucks, we'll cut it.
yeah. But so for Usual Suspects, it says, what is so good about Usual Suspects? Is The Usual Suspects a must watch?
I think it is.
Is The Usual Suspects good for kids? It's
No.
rated R.
Yeah, that's weird.
Answer that yourself.
Requiem is good for kids, though.
What is
If
the
you want to
meaning?
terrify them.
Really?
Did you
No.
watch it?
No, I didn't
No,
watch
I didn't
any of
watch
them.
either. That's why I'm trying to come up with some ideas over here. What is the meaning behind Usual Suspects? Is there something deep?
I don't feel like there's a deeper meaning.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
It's just a guy who lied to get his way out of.
It's
out
such
of
a
jail.
good neo-noir, though.
Yeah.
That's one thing. Like, if you need something to be a neo... Like, a lot you hear... Calm down, Connor. You hear a lot when people discuss what a neo-noir is.
Neo noir
You
really
hear
gets you.
Devil in a Blue Dress with Denzel Washington. And that one, to me, is just a noir that's just a newer noir. Like,
So a neo noir.
yeah, but not like neo noir is
Yeah.
a specific like category. Like this actually changes a lot about the noir genre that it is really a neo-noir, like a perfect neo-noir movie.
All right.
Are you ready for Requiem?
Sure.
I keep thinking I'm about to say it wrong.
Requiem.
It's
Why
just
don't
like
Why
a
don't we
wild-
save that for when we talk about Requiem?
Yeah.
Alright, that works too, asshole.
Um,
I'm just kidding.
so
My
like,
favorite. You're my favorite.
so my overall just like perception after watching The Usual Suspects is it was a good cop movie, right? With a nice twist, but it also lacked a lot of substance. And I felt like it didn't really go super hard towards a genre, kind of stuck in the middle between like a cop movie, a mystery type movie, like a gangster movie, a bank heist movie. Like there are all these like subgenres that it could have fallen into, but I feel like because they were so dead set on like the twist at the very end being the major plot point, it kind of fell short in all of those regards, which kind of led to just like a middle of the road movie that was only elevated because of the ending.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I think that was pretty much my takeaway too.
Yeah.
Overall.
And like from
When you guys like watched it again with the twist at the end, did you, like there was a moment where I thought, wow, the last 30 minutes was just a fun little fairy tale. Like,
Yeah.
none of it was.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
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 Mhm. Like I was like, damn.
it
It
like
pisses me off now.
it ruined the investment that you put into
Yeah.
the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That is the point that I was trying to make.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
It really leaves you
which-
kind of like high and dry at the very
It
end.
sucks because I like the book Catcher in the Rye. It was like one of the few books I read cover to cover in
Hated it.
school. And that's the same thing. The unreliable narrator. You don't know what's real. But for some reason, I don't like it with this movie. Maybe it was just my mood watching it, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Were you gonna say something?
Yeah, sure. Am I allowed to now?
All right, John. I missed you too, bud.
One of the things I was going to say, that one of the reactions I had this time watching it, I never noticed before, is the way that it's shot is really weird. It's really interesting.
What do you mean?
Like the shots are not normal. I mean, just to me, like watching this, they were just not like there was a lot of like kind of like I don't know how you would describe it, maybe like melodramatic shots, like kind of zooming in on people's faces and like I don't know, like
it kind
you
of
guys know more about this stuff than I do, but the way that it was shot, I was like, oh wow, like I don't see these types of things shot this way.
Can you look up the two dates of these movies,
It
please?
felt cheesy
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
me.
it was
felt
like it was cheesy, but I kind of liked that it was different. Too.
Yeah.
But it did the way that it was shot did feel cheesy, but I don't know.
I think that's the neo
felt
noir.
I think
dated.
there was a self-awareness to it. Maybe I'm just applying that.
I completely agree, which is why do you have them?
Yeah.
Yeah, can you tell me?
Just the year.
Both of the years, yeah.
1995
Was
for the
Usual Suspects and 94 for Requiem.
2000.
2006
94.
for Requiem.
2006.
That's not true.
Yeah,
it's
that-
2000.
Yeah. I don't-
What?
It's
Requiem's
2000.
2000.
2006.
Are you looking up Requiem for a Dream?
No, just Requiem.
So 2000 or 1990, what'd you say, 5? And 2000 for Requiem. So within the span of 5 years, right, you have an entirely different feel. Technology at that time probably wasn't too much crazier. I mean, it's right around the tech boom, the start of the tech boom, right? So you have different technologies that are available for Requiem that you didn't have for The Usual Suspects. But to John's point, the actual technical shooting of the film, it felt decades apart. Like I felt like The Usual Suspects, in your words, with the very slow zooms into characters, like there wasn't a lot of dynamic motion to a lot of the shots. It just felt super dated. Where on the exact opposite end of the spectrum, Requiem was pushing boundaries with every single shot. Almost, I felt like,
It was
I don't know if I fully
2000.
buy it. I don't know if I fully buy into that. I don't know. Like look, what I was saying about the shots, I actually kind of liked it.
I think
Okay.
they're stylized.
I think it was stylized.
yeah.
I think that like the way that I saw it was there was a self-awareness to doing it. Yes, it was the shots would have been silly in a lot of movies. Those are the type of shots that you would see in a lot of silly movies that are not very good. But I thought that they were doing that intentionally, and I thought it was fine. I mean, Requiem does obviously do a lot. With
Camera guy
style.
was just drunk.
Yeah, could be that. Just drunk and horny.
John thinks it's something significant, and it was actually the guy just had a problem.
Yeah.
It's like old.
But you were
noir
right with the
movies.
2000. I don't know if you heard me.
Old noir movies were filmed in like those weird zooming in, like for dramatic effect. They use the camera a lot to really, I don't know, get a point across.
Yeah.
It could have been that
Because that's probably what they were doing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well,
To
they
me,
started with those types of shots in Italy. Like, that's where...
What?
I don't know.
I was like,
It's
wow, Jack
it's
actually did his
European.
homework for once. Having said, like what I said, the shot of the police lineup when you see them for the first time, and I think it's the
That's
the
like my
poster.
favorite. That's the best.
Iconic.
Scene.
It's it's iconic, and it's one of the like best composed shots I feel like in cinema history. You could even argue, like it obviously there's so much weight behind the meaning of that shot. You know, it does a great job of introducing the characters in a different way than like introducing them in their individual
And
parts.
You get their personalities instantly.
Instantly, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, when they're reading the questions,
Yeah.
or not the question, the statement, I guess.
mhm.
Yeah, dude. Fucking Stephen Baldwin just going, ah, or whatever.
You fucking cocksucker motherfucker.
yeah.
Dude, what was the fucking inspiration for Benicio del Toro's
have
accent?
no
Like,
idea,
where
man.
did that fucking come from?
How many keys, you cocksucker?
Because he doesn't talk like that.
I mean,
at
what a
all
role.
in any other role too.
His accents in general are normally pretty out there.
I fucking love him, dude.
Yeah, Benicio del
love
Toro
it.
is one of my favorite actors. But he has to have lived in multiple places to get like that such unique way of talking, you know? Like you see that a lot with like military brats sometimes where like they're just like brought up all over and they have just really weird like Israel Adesanya, even though he's not really a military brat. But like
Oh yeah, he's got like a mix.
yeah, it's just like a weird mix, and it does bring a lot of its own personality, like without actually having any substance behind it. Like it's a nice character trait, if you want to call it that. But yeah, him in the movie is just absurd.
It's wild.
His character is so good. I was still kind of bummed, even though I wasn't really into watching it this time. I was bummed when his character died.
Yeah, I'm always disappointed that he's the first
Yeah.
one to die.
You know what's hilarious? When I think of Benicio del Toro, I always also think of Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I
not
think
surprising.
That's
Yeah.
not surprising. Yeah.
Fucking bunch of white people
I did
being
think,
racist.
I thought he directed Pinocchio for a little while.
I have
Jimmy
to stop and
Kimmel's,
think,
like, guy?
which Del Toro am I talking about?
yeah.
Who's the actor? Who's the
yeah,
director?
yeah. But yeah, I don't really have too much on The Usual Suspects.
I mean, I've got a couple other comments.
All right, let's hear it.
One of the best lines from any movie we watched so far.
What? The devil?
Oh no, that's a. I mean,
Talking about fuck your
iconic.
father in the shower and have a snack?
One time my piss come out like snot. That was that's it.
One throwaway line. The news said it's raining in New York. I just noticed that this time. I love it. I don't think it means shit.
Probably not.
I really liked it. It reminded me of reading a book. Like it reminded me of like the stuff that I've been reading recently, like F. Scott Fitzgerald and I read. Just like I don't know, it's like that kind of line that like it's like kind of line that like I don't think it had a real meaning, but it was just cool to be there.
I like that line too a lot though. Like it is interesting.
And it's just like it's just out there, just thrown out there at the end of a scene. Like yeah, I don't know. I
If
think
you
it's cool.
don't use it for a song, I'll use it for a song.
Word,
Because I think it works well.
Yeah,
I think it does.
That's cool.
I think selecting a British guy to do a fucking offensive Indian accent to play a Japanese guy was pretty stupid. I think that was dumb as fuck.
Who is that?
That was ridiculous. Kobayashi.
Oh yeah,
I mean, that's absurd.
yeah, that's nuts.
In 1995, like this wasn't fucking Casablanca.
Kind of makes sense around that time.
Yeah, but still, I don't think there's an excuse for it in 1995. But Yeah, that was ridiculous. And then the one other thing is, in the flashback, they made Kaiser Soze Anthony Kiedis, and that is outrageous.
Wait, did they really? Did I miss that?
The flashback scene where they, well, it's like the
long
fake
hair.
flashback scene where they show him like killing his family.
Oh, that was Anthony Kiedis?
No, but he
No,
looks
he's-
just like him.
Oh,
Man.
I'm such a fucking idiot. Jesus.
Just the long, straight black hair.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, it is very weird. Plus, also, like, kind of what you said, Connor, that, like, the payoff at the end, there's none because you just, like, wasted an investment.
I mean, that's not really the case because when you watch it the first time, you don't think that.
No,
yeah.
but, you know, on second, third viewings, like, I
Yeah.
definitely agree with that sentiment.
Yeah.
I think beforehand, because they're going for this twist at the very end, I don't feel like they did a lot of character development in the way that makes you like empathize at all with the characters. Like you can argue that they're all antagonists, but they're also kind of like an
I think
anti-hero
the one guy you empathize with,
with the
right?
main dude.
I don't know about like I was thinking because as I was watching, like this guy is just killing people without any regard for anything.
You talking about the
The
guy who's trying to go straight?
the old dirty cop. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's his name?
I don't remember his
Michael
name.
Douglas.
Either. Walmart Michael Douglas. But yeah, like I just didn't think that they had like redeemable qualities a lot of the time. They all just felt like they played a role, which again,
I don't think they were supposed to.
well, that's what I was gonna say. Again, if you think about the story like as a whole, they are just a vehicle for this guy to lie to the cop in order to get out of the jail. So it's like, is that intentional, or is it something where they just like didn't write the characters well enough? The actors didn't do a great job with the characters.
Yeah.
It's hard to say.
A lot of
But
it
it
is
feels
the
weird.
twist, dude. Because everything that they said to try to humanize that guy with the report with the lawyer, right? Like Kaiser Soze was threatening her life to get him to do what they want. All of that was told to the Chaz Palminteri from Kaiser Soze. So what the fuck was real? Like that's like yeah.
Also, part of the twist at the very end when Chaz Palminteri's finally realizing it, and they cut back to verbal, and they just show his feet, and he has the limp, and then he just starts walking normal. Even my first time watching that, I was like, "What? Like, who cares?" He didn't have a limp. Like at first, I'm like, "Oh, like he sold that character," but then I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
you could still be anybody else that just walks normal.
I love that scene now just because of Scary Movie though.
What scene is
At the end of Scary Movie, when Dewey's like walking out of the police station, he
he does the
stops
same
limping,
thing.
and he gets in a car and puts on sunglasses, and the "Too Cool for School" song comes on.
Yeah, I haven't seen that movie in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Roger Ebert hated The Usual Suspects. That's
Really?
always a pretty
Wow.
good barometer.
yeah.
Wow,
He hated it. He put it
Interesting.
on like his least favorite movies of 1995.
I bet it's a fucking great review.
Yeah, it probably is.
It
Um,
was in the paper in New York.
Where it was raining.
so kind of, I don't know if you want to move on to
Yeah, I just have to go down.
usual. Okay,
You guys
I
want
had
to pause?
I had a point. Yeah,
Because I have to go to the
We're at,
bathroom too.
We're about 46 minutes in.
and we're back. Now we're back.
You have something to say about Usual Suspects?
I sure did, Connor. And now it's gone to the ether.
Oh no.
That's all right. Oh, I remember now. So we talked a lot about the big twist at the very end. Do you think that there's another movie on this list that has one element of it that makes it a top 100 movie? Because for me, like, if you have one trick, and yes, they did pull it off well, but like, if they didn't have, I think if they didn't have that trick, like this, obviously, I don't think would be on the top 100. Like, if there's another movie on there similar to that,
I don't know what I mean, I haven't seen, but so far, no.
yeah.
What about Aliens?
But Aliens had a lot of different things going on.
It wasn't like a one trick, like a twist. It was like, it's a good action movie.
Well, Usual Suspects is a good cop movie.
I don't think it is. Like I said before, it toes the line for a bunch of different types of movies, and I don't think it leans one way or the other towards them, which makes it an okay action movie, an okay cop movie, you know, okay mystery movie, until like the very end, the twist brings everything together, and then it's like, okay, wow, now we have a great movie.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's like enough for a top 100 movie.
Well, Schindler's List just has the Holocaust.
It just has a list.
And the red jacket or the color red.
Oh,
John-
that's two things.
John, it had 6 million things. Okay.
You know who loves The Usual Suspects? Like 90. I'm just kidding.
All right.
Yeah.
Requiem for a Dream.
Yeah. So let's move on to Requiem. One of my favorite movies of all time. I would probably put it up there in my top 10.
He's such a weirdo. Like
Aronofsky?
you
Me? I know.
to say that.
But dude, I mean,
It is
He's
good. Like it's
masochistic.
good. But
Listen.
it's like
I love a lot of stuff for very different things, and when I hone in on the thing that I love about something, then it's like my favorite thing. You know,
drugs.
Dude, I love the editing of this movie.
that's what I'm saying. It is so innovative. It's
Opening
so
with
different,
the split screen is nuts.
dude. And then
It's so disorienting.
all of the title screens.
Yeah.
Like when they introduce the different seasons and stuff like that, to have it just like crash down with the sound of jail bars, but just have the black on white lettering versus the background. It's like something that a student film would do, but
Yeah.
also it's incorporated so well that it feels like an art piece.
Yeah,
It's-
it didn't feel like a student film. Like
But that's what I'm
it's
saying. It
like
has
risks
those-
that a student would take.
It
but-
has those gritty elements of a student film done to the nth degree,
Yeah.
which is like, to me, Requiem for a
Also,
Dream,
This was filmed on film. This
Yeah.
was not digital.
right? Which at
That's
the time,
fucking nuts.
which at the time, digital was
about
like
all those
starting
cuts.
to happen.
yeah.
Yeah, all the cuts, and the fact that the body cams, the steady body cams. You know what I'm talking about? When they have like the facing shots with everyone, it's like moving around with the whole world. Fucking Google
rear
it.
facing body camera.
Yeah, in like 2 scenes.
Yeah. Definitely an incredibly risk-taking movie that doesn't
Yeah.
just feel like someone just tried to do a bunch of dumb shit
Right.
and just threw it in there. Like, I mean, it's a great movie. But
Everything was in its place. The filming and the editing, fantastic. And I feel like we're gonna get into a lot of that because dude, the color in this movie, like
Yeah.
so much shit about this movie. But from a storyline, like you're writing about drug addicts, basically, is what the whole movie
Yeah.
is.
I used to think it was just about addiction, but it really is just drugs.
Yeah.
Like
It's all it is. Everything is driven by drugs, especially the mother, right? Her initial thing was weight loss. You can call food a drug.
I like wellness. Or
Wellness,
like, or
yeah.
like whatever those snake oil salesmen sell, whatever.
I mean, it's just amphetamine pills.
yeah. Yeah. No, I mean before she took the pills.
Oh,
Like
the self-help type stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and like someone who's lonely,
Yeah.
you know.
That's what it was about to me. I mean, you guys are saying it's about drugs. I'm like, it's fucking heartbreaking because this movie is about all of the emotional traumas that just led these people down this inevitable path.
Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of things that the movie's about. You could say that it's all about the pursuit of happiness, right?
Well, most of them are on drugs at the beginning.
Yeah, I know,
Pursuit of happiness.
but you
Yeah.
get everything.
By the pursuit of happiness, they're just
Sorry, I'm like,
yeah, I know.
Kid Cudi.
Exactly. We're very excited about this movie. But if you think about the 3 main characters, right? Jennifer, not Jennifer
Connelly.
Connelly, Marlon Wayans, and Jared Leto. All 3 of their characters, their big thing is they're going to get enough money to retire, basically. You know, they're going to start selling drugs, get enough money to move, to get out of. Well, they're in Brooklyn, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then the
where's
mother,
Coney Island,
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn.
And then the mother, her goal is to see her son do well, but then also to get into shape, wear the red dress, feel happy about herself again, right? So all of these decisions that they make throughout the entire movie are inevitable, or not inevitably, but are ultimately to achieve the goal of being happy, right? They're trying to better their situation in whatever way they start doing it. I said before when we were talking about what movies we thought should be on there, that one of the reasons I love The Wrestler is because it's such a good character piece where they follow one character throughout the entire thing. Requiem for a Dream is a character piece about 4 different characters all intertwined at once. So it feels like in each scenario where a character is isolated, it is literally a movie just about that character. It is
Yeah, it
filmed
really
in a
does.
way where it's compartmentalized in that regard, but when it gets weaved together through the other stories, it feels like an entire movie. Well, I mean, it is an entire movie, but it feels like it's a sum that's greater than its individual parts at that
Yeah,
point.
it's separate, but it still feels together at the same time, and that's very hard.
And then also chopping it up based
so
on the
sick.
seasons.
Yeah.
It's also compartmentalizing the movie further, but advancing the storyline, advancing every character's plots and motives throughout the entire movie to where it doesn't feel disjointed. Because I feel like a lot of this movie is made to make you feel disjointed by the pacing of the movie, the jump cut, quick cut type scenes, jumping back and forth from individual characters. But everything, again, everyone is focused on the same goal, and it just makes everything come together in a really nice way.
Yeah.
In a very interesting way that I don't feel like a lot of movies do.
It's crazy I think it's crazy that like all of this happened to all of the characters because they all smoked weed once. The gateway drug.
It's a gateway
I mean,
drug, man.
If we had just locked them up after their first puff in prison, none of this would have happened, and
Yeah,
they
it
could have
prevented
pursued
so much
happiness.
tragedy.
I'm getting a lot of affiliate marketing dollars from the DARE program. By the way.
That's really
Or
unfortunate.
if they went to prison, it gets way worse.
No.
Yeah. They'd be making toilet wine. They'd be,
It's joking.
doing crazy shit in there.
Jack, that's ridiculous.
I don't know. I would kill it in prison with all that shit.
So I kind of briefly touched on it before, how this was an underrated ensemble cast. Each one of these characters kind of was, I wouldn't say necessarily catapulted from this movie, but a lot of them weren't relatively known, and this was like such a exciting movie, such a just like different movie. Everyone was kind of drawn to this movie because it was so different that and every character played an extremely well role. Extremely well role.
No.
Well done.
Sure.
They did a good job.
Yeah, everybody did such a good. I
Yeah.
can't believe that. I mean, Ellen Burstyn being the only one nominated, it like makes sense if she's going to be the only one nominated. She was the best,
She was the best.
but they all deserve to be.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't know who I would take out. I don't know like who the other nominees were, but they were all great, dude. And I fucking hate Jared Leto.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Jared Leto.
I don't know, man. Once you watch this movie, how do you hate Jared Leto?
Everything he's done since.
We were the kings.
But this was also my first introduction to a lot of these actors and actresses. And I just became a fan of their acting afterwards. Like, perfect example would be Jennifer Connelly. I thought she was so hot.
Yeah, so
She
hot.
was like, I love that woman.
She's the babe of the 90s.
Yeah. But I wouldn't have watched the Snowpiercer television show if it wasn't for her.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I was unfortunate. It was unfortunate.
She was in
that
the
I
new
did
Top
watch it.
Gun movie, too.
Oh, was she?
Stone Cold Fox.
Well, I have to watch it because it's on the list. But yeah, I mean, just there's so much that I want to go over that it's like hard to pick one thing. But I guess because the editing is like a really big thing and like the way the movie was actually shot, we can go into that in a little bit more depth now. What I was going to say,
Starting now.
what I was going to say earlier on, because I think that it was very cool how the movie was broken up into the different seasons. The use of color in all of the seasons throughout the entire movie was really interesting to see how it progressed. Obviously, you got a lot of yellows, reds, and oranges in the summer, and you could definitely tell that there was like a heat, obviously, but also because of that, there was more energy with all of the characters. It seemed like not only because they weren't as far gone as later on in the movie, but there was a lot of energy around everything that they were doing. Right? With Ellen Berenson, how do you pronounce her name?
Berenstein.
Ellen
it's
Bernstein.
actually.
Fellow Geo.
Person. But with her character, like everyone was just like dead set on what they were doing. Her character was like, I'm dieting. I'm so excited by this diet. It's a new thing starting. Jared Leto and Marlon Wayans, right? It's Marlon Wayans, not the other one. I always mix those guys up. Their characters had so much energy with, basically making the money to get out of there. And Jennifer Connelly's character was very excited and supportive for Jared Leto's character. But then as the seasons go on, when you get into the fall and winter, there's a lot more like darker colors. There's a lot more blue tones. And you could see the characters start
grays too.
A lot of grays. A lot more night scenes involved there too. But you felt the energy kind of being drained from their characters. Obviously, that has a lot to do with like the progression of their drug use in all the various ways, but just the overall energy and tone of the movie, it took like a downturn, which I thought was really cool. Either I haven't seen that in a lot of other movies or I hadn't noticed it, but that was really well done. The jump cutting and the quick cuts to do all of the different types of drugs, the money dealing.
Works so well, yeah.
And it almost felt like a song every single time that they did that thing, especially when they started selling drugs. It was like the beginning of Money from Pink Floyd. It felt very much like it was an intentional rhythm and like almost a song to the entire.
Especially the summer when everything's going well. I think that's definitely on purpose to like give you a sense of ease and calm. Because then as it goes on, there's a lot less rhythm. It's a lot more chaotic.
Yeah.
Well, didn't Darren Aronofsky call this hip hop something? This style.
I don't know.
I gotta look it up. I mean, I saw this on Wikipedia, so maybe
Yes,
it's
Jack, you have a
bullshit.
question?
I do. I have a question.
Dude, you gotta watch this movie. Like, I know
Yeah,
you
you
didn't watch it
should
for this
watch
week,
it.
but
It's
it is
fantastic
an experience you will never have watching another movie.
Yeah.
All right, I'll give it a chance. Maybe I'll watch it tonight.
Yeah.
But I was gonna ask if you guys could replace one person that's in this movie. It was 95 or 94 or 2000 with some like a current actor or actress. Would you replace anyone?
No.
Or
No.
No.
Everything
if we
was
had
so
to,
well done.
I don't even know who could. Like Marlon Wayans was known at the time as a comedian. Jennifer Connelly was just eye candy. Jared Leto kind of had some reputation from Fight Club at this point as a decent actor, and Ellen Burstyn was not that dramatic of an actress. I don't know too much about her career other than that she was in The Exorcist, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I'm a sucker for casting against type, and she was cast against type. And Marlon Wayans, that's so awesome. Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
So
it's
it's
like
like
out of nowhere.
that's why the characters work so well. I think because you're not used to seeing these actors do this thing, so it's hard to pick a cast like that.
I'd put Kenan Thompson in for Marlon Wayans.
It's not believable enough. He's too big
Timothy
of a guy.
Chalamet for Jared Leto.
Honestly, that might work.
kinda
I'll watch
tried with
anything
Beautiful
that
Boy.
kid's in.
But I don't
Selena
know. I don't think he
Gomez
can
for
be
Jennifer
as like
Connelly.
yeah.
I think though the casting against like their type, it did kind of play well into the main through line being like drug addiction, because people on drugs act so differently than they normally would. So like it's a very cool thing because you can kind of contribute some of their quirks of a person not actually being like that, and it develops towards the actual storyline,
Yeah,
which
I
is
didn't
kind of
think
cool.
that's cool.
Yeah. One more thing on that. I read Marlon Wayans auditioned 5 times and read the book 3 times
Wow,
for this role.
that's crazy. That's
He
crazy.
desperately
Yeah, that's
wanted to be in the
cool.
movie.
Oh,
Yeah.
speaking of the book,
I wish he was in other shit, like dramatic shit.
Yeah.
After, and he just wasn't.
White Chicks was pretty dramatic.
Yeah, that's true.
Traumatic. You brought up the book, so I think it was the first day that the author of the book that this was based on, his first day on set was the scene with the mom going through the shock therapy, and he cried because it was so believable and so like torturous that he actually like cried during the filming, which is kind of cool. Big pussy, but kind of cool.
God, horrific movie.
I would love to
Horrific,
try shock therapy.
Amazing movie.
Why?
It's actually
I
not.
feel
It's
like
not
it
that
would
crazy as it
work.
used to be.
Like little shocks, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
There's a thing. It's EBT, right? Is that-
ECT.
It's a real
ECT.
thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Train yourself.
Yeah.
Yes. Then
But-
you'll be ready for bigger shocks.
It's usually just like a last resort.
yeah, I want to ride the lightning.
Yeah.
I found myself so conflicted at the end because, like, I really want to support sex workers, but
This was
Oh,
brutal,
speaking of quotable movies, dude, ass to ass. Like,
let's take this out.
Yeah.
why? That had a very big impression on me as a child. I was like, that is the ultimate.
That is the worst scene,
It is
the worst
so
scene to watch that I've
uncomfortable.
ever seen. In a
It
movie.
is so uncomfortable.
I was actually thinking up until that point, I'm like even the nudity in this is pretty tasteful and like I think he had to really walk a fine line because of the subject matter and it not getting to be like a druggy nudity movie.
And then he was like, hold my beer.
And then all of a sudden it's like wham. But it's still tasteful's the wrong word. But
I've
it's
never
still
heard
There's nothing
someone
tasteful
say
about a
anything
double-ended
about nudity
dildo.
no,
that's
there's nothing tasteful about it, but it wasn't just gratuitous. It
Yeah.
was like it really
It's just instrumental.
sensual.
yeah, it was like, oh god.
Dude, it made me hate that guy.
Yeah.
David?
Yeah, dude.
Fucking one of the best
I love him in everything.
character actors. Yeah.
It made me hate him with a passion.
Yeah, that's like a risky thing to do. Take a role like that.
Because it's very easy, because he's already a character actor. It's very easy for him to
I
kind
think
of
he
get
was the
labeled.
bad guy after this for a long time.
Yeah.
I remember in Barbershop he was the bad guy.
That is the only other movie he ever did. God damn. What else? God damn.
The drug theme throughout this is just done beautifully. Like what you said before with the actors and how like people act differently on drugs, and maybe that was it probably was very purposeful in the casting. But every time something or a character would do drugs, the tone of the movie got a little bit lighter. Everything kind of seemed like everything was going to be okay for a little brief moment, and then shit would just hit the fan instantly. And it kind of was like an overarching theme of the movie too, with them getting high at the beginning and having fun getting high and getting this great idea and starting to do well, making a lot of money, and then everything crashed once they couldn't get it again. They weren't high anymore.
Dude, I mean, I'll also, now I just thought of it while you're doing that. That doesn't really have to do anything with what you said. The cameos in this movie were pretty awesome because
A lot of Darren Aronofsky guys.
yeah, they're all Aronofsky guys. So like me personally, giant fan of Darren Aronofsky. It is very cool to see him add characters from his other movies that don't necessarily get a lot of other roles outside of Aronofsky movies. I mean, I forget their
The guy
names.
from Pi.
The guy from Pi, the main character, I think his last name's like Giles or Gillis or something like that. Then the old man who says ass to ass was also in Pi. And then Hector Salamanca. He was in it.
Who was he?
He was the guy that they tried to pawn the TV off to at the very beginning of the movie, who was also, I forget the name of the guy in Pi, but he was the main character's, like,
This was right after Pi, right?
I think like 3 years after. But he was the main character in Pi's mentor. And he's an awesome actor. He's old as shit, but doesn't age, if that makes sense. You know? Because Pi was before this movie, which in the 90s at some point. He is still the same age in my mind as he is in Breaking Bad, and then Better Call Saul after that. So it's just kind of crazy like that. But yeah, dude, just every single character really had impact. Like I said, the
Shooter
McGavin, dude. I mean, dude, his character, I think they did, Aronofsky did an amazing job of showing how those self-help gurus are cults, right? Because the whole, like,
hypnotized.
yeah, they get hypnotized. They prey on the weak, right? This old woman who's more or less alone, looking for answers, and they just literally draw her in like a fish on a line the entire course of the movie, and then it ruins her. It's a lot like Colts.
I still like don't know how much of her story is real or in her head.
I think most of it's in her head because once she
Yeah.
starts taking the amphetamines, everything starts going crazy.
Yeah.
Right.
But even before that, like even the call, like I don't know, like how did they get her number?
Yeah.
You
That
know?
is weird. But I think they started calling her. Oh no, they did call her before she started taking those because that's the whole reason why she
Yeah.
started taking the pills. Dude, you know what? I mean, I don't know this for a fact, and I'm literally just making this up as I'm thinking about it, but it could be that her son did something to put her on a list for money. I don't know.
Yeah, or you just assume that she's contacted these people before,
Yeah,
which
she
is
probably reached out a
trusting the
couple
audience
times.
what he didn't do in the whale.
Mm-hmm. We're not gonna get into it. I was having a good time, Connor.
I think the thing with her character is like I found that to be so fucking tragic because I think like this is kind of weird, but like anytime you see like a movie or anything about like people getting ruined by drugs
Yeah.
and emotional trauma, right? Like it's usually like young people, right? Like you're seeing like young people or like middle-aged people, but this really made you think about the loneliness and the emotional baggage of an old person. And like we all know people like this that we love, right? And it's like it's crazy to think about that. Like, and you look at her life, like it makes sense why she had all of that emotional weight that led her down this path, and like that's just not something that gets explored.
I know the end montage is like this is like the worst scene in cinema ever, but also, in my opinion, one of the greatest scenes in cinema ever. And it's so emotional, gut-wrenching. The scene where the mom and the son are sitting down and he's telling her about how he's got a job and he's going to get married and all that stuff like that. And then she starts grinding her teeth. That to me is like the saddest scene in the movie. Because it's like you see the son is basically lying to his poor mom. And because she has some sort of like, I don't know, like faulty ego or just insecurities or something like that, she's going to this degree of taking these weight loss drugs and becoming cracked out. And her son, who's a hardened drug addict, is like, Mom, you are killing yourself.
I'm telling you, it's no good.
And she just doesn't care because she's starting the path of addiction. And it's like sadness just happens to everybody, right? And when the son is seeing his own mother go through it, I think it almost gives him a shot of humanity where he's like, oh shit, like this is happening to my mom now too. Things aren't great. You know, I think that's the first sniff test of all of the characters saying like, oh shit, things aren't as necessarily great as we think they are right now. And then it's just a decline from there.
You kind of always get that feeling that something bad's going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you're right. Like that's the moment where you're like, oh, it's about to hit the fan now.
A lot of bad things happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it, but I picture like Pete Davidson making a cameo in it.
Yeah. You guys want to buy some heroin?
Fuck was that, dude?
I thought that was spot on. That was spot on, Pete Davidson.
Towards the end, it got a little phlegmy.
It sounded like you had peanut butter on the roof of your mouth.
I'm Pete Davidson. I like peanut butter.
The theme song is iconic. We all know
Oh
that.
my God.
What?
One of the best. You've heard this song, I'm sure. Everyone's heard
What
it.
is it?
I forget
Should
how
I
it
play it?
goes. Yeah, play
Do
it.
you not know the name?
It's its own score.
It's from the movie.
The
Yeah.
score.
But
It was written for the movie.
countless
It's
but-
called
people.
Requiem for a Dream.
But countless
Oh,
people in
really?
like frats and stuff and like sports teams, they play that fucking shit to haze people.
Do they?
Yeah,
I will
like
tell
it's
you, I was
uncomfortable.
hazed to this.
I'm not saying anyone in particular. I'm just saying that I know it happens. Ta-na-na-na. I think you could skip.
I think
to
it's
the good
used in
part.
like hype videos too.
Really? Oh, I
Yeah,
could
that-
see. I could see like a.
Get ready.
I could see like a football player's highlight film.
I've never heard this.
Or like some local affiliate wrestling.
Yeah.
Here come the Nightmare Twins.
Versus the Stapler.
Oh, all right. I get a lot. I feel like Batman really stole this.
No.
It sounds like a fantasy theme song.
Yeah.
But this is such a fucked up, crazy world that this movie exists in that it works.
Dude, I think the entire movie from top to bottom, every aspect of filmmaking was just like, how can we portray dread? That's literally every single step of the way. The editing, the acting, the musical score, the storyline. It's just like dread. And you feel it. Like you guys said, it is hard to watch multiple times.
Dreaded watching this.
Chris has watched
I didn't
this
watch it
two times a
until
year.
the last minute.
I've watched it 2 times a year since probably my sophomore
as
year
you
of
will.
college. Dude, I mean, let me tell you, I like good cinema. All right, whether it's a Toy Story or whether it's this.
There
Although-
are really like no movies I can really rewatch besides That's My Boy.
That is a new layer I didn't expect to
The Love
uncover.
Guru.
Whenever I get together with some of my friends, like that's the movie we watch. Either
Jack's like-
that or Grandma's Boy.
Jack's like, oh my god,
Depends
his
on
head
the
is
group.
warped.
What?
When he gets the tattoo of the people on the back when he's a
Kids
kid.
on the block.
Oh, their heads are all warped. Jack's like,
Han
they really are
Solo.
warped. Oh man. But yeah, I mean, there's just really not enough that I can say good about this movie, which is hilarious because it does not make you feel good.
Sure
just-
doesn't.
Yeah, we'll talk about this later. Especially with, I mean, as much as we don't want to, Citizen Kane. We'll talk about it with The Matrix, but this movie had another. Let me tell you, I'll feed you, baby birds. This movie has one of the most innovative uses of camera technology in a movie that is now very popular. I said it at the beginning, but the use of a steady cam that's not attached to a camera operator, but is physically attached to the subject that it's filming, right? All of those up close fish eye or fish angle? Fish eye, right?
Francis Bourgeois,
What?
the guy who really likes trains.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I fucking hate that guy. Just to make that very clear.
But anyway, before I lose track of this, I think it's just as impactful as the low angle shots in Citizen Kane. I think it's just as impactful as bullet time in The Matrix. Like, this movie made its own type of shot, right? Not the editing for the quick jump cuts, but the body cam on the subject. You see that constantly now in like movies. I forget what movie it is specifically. I think it's Will Ferrell, but he's all fucked up on some sort of drug that he like did at a party. I think it's Old School. Yeah, where he gets hit with the trank.
Mm-hmm.
He's wearing the body cam, right? And it's literally just on his face, and it gives this distorted
Oh, it's like the
look
Hangover.
to it. The Hangover does
Get
it
Into the
really
Greek
well.
does it too.
Yeah. All of these movies, because it is such a perfect portrayal of being out of your normal state of mind, that all of these movies just use it now. And it's like, impact on cinema, if that's a piece of criteria that we're using for these movies, honestly, Requiem for a Dream has multiple examples of that.
I think it's like good. Not that I watched it, but I think it's good that they include those types of things.
Yeah.
Because it's so like real.
And
how
it also
it's actually portrayed and
Yeah.
how it just like takes people completely away from themselves, like
Yeah.
the harder drugs, like heroin and
Yeah.
things like that, even pills.
And it's like, you know, when you think of a movie, you think of actors and a storyline, right? You don't think of all the other stuff that's involved with it. And sometimes it happens, like in the examples of CGI, like, you know, bad CGI will take you out of a movie. When you introduce innovation in a way that not only is believable, but actually adds depth to a storyline and to acting, like, that's just something that just lifts your movie up into the stratosphere for me, you know? It's insane. And you can there's only so many movies that really do something that innovative.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why it's called innovation.
Is that why?
I don't know.
What are we at time, Jack?
32,
So 32 plus whatever. We were at 36.
46, and
46?
32.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah, we're pushing
Should
it.
we wrap it?
But we
You
do
look
have
great, you
a
look great.
large portion to cut out of the beginning. Of
Yeah,
the last
well,
one.
we'll see how
Connor,
much.
should we have our...
No. You are cutting that.
We'll see.
No, you're cutting it. Please.
Does the mom make a cream cheese and tomato and onion sandwich on a Kaiser roll?
I think so.
It's fucking disgusting.
Dude, that whole diet.
I've seen
sound that
people
bad.
do that.
Really?
Yeah, cream cheese and tomatoes, like all.
Really doesn't sound that bad.
With an onion?
Well, I wouldn't include the onion, but
Dude, yeah, that mom ate some.
Okay.
I'd put that on a
horrid shit.
bagel.
Kaiser roll, bagel, basically same thing.
Kaiser Soze.
They're Jewish.
I don't
What
need a
does that
present.
have to do-
Just have a baby. I like that line.
Oh, are you doing your quotes?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do the quotes and then we'll wrap.
I just have one. I don't need a present. Just have a baby.
That one's pretty good because that's like it hits home for a lot of people, especially our age.
Yeah.
It's like now you're at the point where it's like, all right, you're gonna settle down, you're gonna have kids and stuff like that, and it's real pressure.
And everything else, like there's other quotes in the movie, but it's such a like everything was so. Everything revolved around drugs and the damage it causes in people's lives. That all those quotes just, other than ass to ass,
Dude, ass to ass, obviously.
Yeah.
But when the mom
like,
says,
they all feel so gross.
when the mom says Harry, it just cracks me up every time. Harry.
Oh, I like how Marlon Wayans calls him Jim.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's not his name. It's like a hey Jack.
Mm.
Jack,
Also,
Jack's like used as like a
Don't even get going on that.
no.
one.
It's just like a generic name that people used to call each other. Like hit the road, Jack, and don't you
Oh
come
yeah,
back.
yeah. All right, I gotcha.
or listen, Jack.
Targeted. I get upset by Johns that go by Jack. Like if you went by Jack, I would have a problem
I
with
would.
you.
I trust me, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, just go by your name.
I thought that Requiem, and then after I say this, we can
Our
wrap.
grandfather.
Tough.
After I say this, we can do our last thoughts. But I think
What's the matchup?
Requiem's pretty progressive. They had a deaf drug dealer.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, Brittany pointed it out.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
that was really good to see.
You don't even know you're getting arrested.
Well, dude, no, I mean,
Talk
it
about
was-
inclusiveness.
It was pretty funny. It was pretty funny at the point where Marlon Wayne's character is in the drug dealer's car, like making the deal. And he has a translator the whole time. And then all of a sudden he's like, I forget what he says. He's like, Malice, like, I'll fuck you or something like that. Like, if you fuck me, I'll fuck you. Like, implying that he's going to kill him, not fuck him. But then the translator starts going to translate and he's like, I got it. So I thought that part was pretty funny. Yeah, what is the matchup, you think?
For
Bum
next
limbs.
week.
No. The ending matchup. And then we're going to do the winner. And then we'll give next week's matchup.
Bum limbs.
Bumlins. That's pretty funny. One at the beginning, one at the end, and they switch
Yep.
because Verbal's gimp at the very beginning ends up he can walk the whole time. Jared Leto works perfectly.
Has 2 arms. Doesn't have 2 arms.
Nope, he's got
Justice.
That's pretty good. I don't know.
Fucking terrible.
It's like Requiem. You have 4 people who are like, at heart, you could argue, are good people who just get totally fucked by life. In Usual Suspects, you have one seemingly very evil guy who gets away. Justice, or lack thereof.
What's the deal with the title of Requiem for a Dream?
I'm also gonna say justice.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm not sure why they called it Requiem for a Dream. I don't even know what a requiem is, to be honest.
It's like a
It's a Latin
remembrance.
phrase.
Oh, really?
So I think it's like they had dreams and now they're all dead.
That makes sense. I would say if I were to do the matchup, it would have something to do with I guess like addiction and the pursuit of happiness, because in The Usual Suspects everything was like driven by money. And for this, everything was also kind of driven by money in a way, if you don't count the mom. And then just like the pursuit of a better life leads you to do terrible things.
With the help of drugs.
Yeah, with the help of drugs, but in the usual suspects, just being a criminal and that whole thing.
Yeah, I buy that.
So I think it's pretty obvious. But what are we voting past to the next round?
Fucking Requiem.
I'm not watching it again.
You have to watch it again.
I don't have to watch it again. I remember it. I Requiem it.
Yeah, it for me, it's pretty obvious. It's got everything that I like in a movie, and usual.
I can't wait for next week.
What?
What do you like in a movie? A guy getting his arm cut off, a girl getting sold into prostitution, a old woman getting shocked to out of her mind, and then Marlon Wayne's character gets the fucking raw deal, man. The guy
He gets
basically
shits in jail.
Everyone
gets shits in jail.
I feel like he was
Jailed down south.
Yeah.
Oh.
Arguably, he was like the least fucked up out of the four. Like, he seemed to have the best handle on his drug addiction. He
didn't present like a drug addict.
He didn't, and he was like, he brought his friend to the hospital out of caring for his friend. But of course, it's in the fucking racist South, and he ends up in prison in a racist prison where he'll probably get killed or something.
Implying that it's like Angola, like a work
Oh, really?
a tough work prison. Yeah.
Hey, but if you're gonna be a drug addict, don't do it where you're gonna be discriminated against.
There's
a tip for all you drug addicts out
That's
there.
what we learned from Requiem.
Clip it.
All right.
So the next matchup.
Hold on. Congratulations, Requiem for a Dream. Darren Aronofsky's first movie in the list, and he's going to move on. Sorry, Usual Suspects. Even though you had the Casablanca boost, just didn't work for you. Okay, Jack, what's the next matchup?
So Requiem for a Dream won, and it's going to be up against Life is Beautiful.
La Vida Bella.
And the only thing that I actually noticed, and
Soul crushing.
what is?
Dude, it's a Nazi war movie.
What is?
Life is Beautiful.
We're all
I
gonna
wouldn't
literally
guess
come out
that.
of this depressed.
I really wouldn't guess that would be that.
So many of these movies just so sad.
Dude,
How is
IMDb.
Harry Potter not fucking on here?
Oh, shut up. Go suck Daniel Radcliffe's dick.
But how is it not? You know what I mean? How is fucking...
Because it's not a great movie.
How?
How?
How is it not a great movie?
Because it's about wizards.
Bro.
Lord of the Rings.
God.
There's 3 of them on this list.
I don't really think that they're going to go
I
very
would be
far
happy
from me.
with this list if instead of Avengers, it was Harry Potter. Like, I think that would make more sense.
I
I
think that
agree
would
with
make
that
more
too.
sense too,
I
but
agree
I
with
don't
that
agree
too.
that either one of those movie franchises
you
should be
have-
represented.
I mean, I don't align with her politically, but
Top
JK?
Guns on
yeah,
here?
but her writing is incredible.
Dude,
and you
I
get
don't
at least some of
understand-
that in
I don't understand why everyone gets so mad at her for all the stuff
I don't
she said.
want to talk about
No,
this.
because her
I don't want to get into
But
it.
her first 2 initials are literally JK. She's just kidding, guys.
Zing!
Rolling on the floor laughing.
Rafflecopter. I almost said J.K. Simmons too, by the way.
You're triggered by JK's like things that she said.
Yeah, some of them are a little out there, but yeah.
Yeah, but like, I don't know. She's English. What do you
Yeah,
expect?
exactly. Who even gives a shit about their takes on stuff? Anyway.
But
Pope may be French, but Jesus is English. All right, next week we've got Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind against
Wow.
Leon the Professional.
I can't wait to like cry in not a disturbed way.
Can we watch?
I just watched
Let's
already.
watch
and I did.
Lion King.
It's on here.
I know Lion King and Inglorious
is?
Bastards.
I'm so excited.
Oh, that's going to be a sick week.
I did tear
Yeah.
up back to back. Requiem for a Dream and Eternal Sunshine for different
Jesus
reasons.
Christ! I need like a happy movie,
Yeah.
but
It's
I
Eternal-
think Leon the
Eternal
Professional is kind of uplifting. I don't know
see.
though.
All right, move it along.
I've got CTE, guys. On that note, thanks for watching. Join the bracket on challenge.com/huge movie podcast. Rate, view, like, subscribe, all that fun stuff.
don't sue us.
Until next time,
Don't sue us.
Fuck Citizen Kane.
fuck Citizen Kane.
If only Orson Welles had fallen into drug addiction and died before making that movie.
Jesus Christ.
And we're not.